Hello, we are officially entering into spring, and at the start of every season, I like to set myself a reading list of books to read over the next few months that complement the season that I'm in. So I have picked 8 different books that either their covers feel reminiscent of spring, or they are actually set during spring, or they're just books that have been published recently that I want to put on a reading list so I get to them sooner rather than later. Although these books are a combination of some are newer, some are older, so I have a whole mixture here. And you might notice that I'm here in what I like to call my garden studio, which is really my grand name for my little garden shed out here. But because the weather is starting to get a bit warmer, I thought it'd be fun to film out here. And it's really nice to see outside the window. I can see there are flowers coming up, and there's daffodils popping up in the flower beds, and also in my local park there's also lots of lovely flowers coming up. So it does feel like spring is definitely on the way, and the days are definitely a lot lighter. So I'm going to go into talking about these 8 different books and why I'm so keen on reading them soon. But I would love to hear if you are also interested in reading any of these books alongside me, or if you have read them, what you think about them, or if you have any other books that you're really looking forward to getting to over the spring season. So let me know about that in the comments below. Now, the very first book that I'm keen on reading is a book of short stories called Wild Quiet by Roisin O'Donnell. And this was actually first published in 2016. And there is a beautiful field of flowers on the cover. So that feels very reminiscent of spring. But also just recently, I read this author's debut novel, Nesting, which I loved so much, and they really complement each other with the pinks there, and so I want to read more of her work. I have read a short story by her before, and I've read that this collection contains a real big variety of stories, that they're not all just kind of realistic and set in Ireland, as is her novel Nesting, but are set in a variety of places of Ireland, but also other places, and some are more realistic, some are more supernatural. So I'm really keen to see the diversity and differences in this author's writing, and what she might write next, what her next novel might be. Then there is a brand new novel which actually hasn't been published yet, but I feel very lucky that the publisher has sent me an advanced copy, but I'm so keen to read it during the spring season because it begins in Easter in 1938, and it's called Days of Light by Megan Hunter. It has this beautiful painterly cover to it, and it follows a young woman who feels like her life is just beginning, but then there is family tragedy, and also it is just on the brink of World War II, and so it follows her and a number of people over a period of decades, and the transformations going on in their personal lives, but also in the country around them. And Megan Hunter was inspired to write this book because of Virginia Woolf and the Bloomsbury Group, and as a really big fan of Virginia Woolf and the Bloomsbury Group, I'm so excited to see how that takes a fictional form. And I think she deviates, from the sort of history of those historical figures quite a lot in this book from what I've read, but it is kind of inspired by that. And I loved her novel, The End We Start From. I thought it was so creative and powerful, and this really vivid and frighteningly realistic kind of dystopian portrait. But the tone and style of this novel sounds very different, so I'm very excited for that. Now, since the weather has been getting nicer, I took a stroll to my local library, and I picked up a copy of The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. And this novel was published quite a long time ago, because this was an author of the late 19th and early 20th century, and she was actually cousins with Catherine Mansfield, and I've never read anything by her before. The author married a count, and apparently she created this grand chateau in Switzerland where she held literary literary soirees. So I'll be really keen to read about this author, as well as this novel, which obviously, because it has April in the title, so feels very appropriate for spring. And it follows 4 different women who answer an ad to go stay in a medieval castle in the Italian Riviera, and it follows them on their holiday there. That they're very different from each other, but they all see this as like a voyage of personal discovery, and it's about the question of whether they can take these changes that are going on in their lives back to their home lives and their husbands and their lovers, and how much this will transform the rest of their lives. And so yeah, I'm very excited to read my first book by this author. Going back to Ireland, there's another short story collection called The Springs of Affection by Maeve Brennan, and obviously this has spring in the title, but these are stories that I have read a story or two by this author before, and I've been really wanting to read more by her because I thought her stories were so powerful. And she was writing in the 1950s, 1960s, and early 1970s, but this collection actually wasn't published as a collection until the 1990s, and they are stories that follow 3 different Irish families in the Dublin suburbs. And I've read that they're written in a kind of style, like a kind of stream of consciousness style, but through the third person, so focusing very much intensely on the inner lives of these characters and their immediate experiences. Also, this edition comes with an introduction by the great Anne Enright. And sticking in Ireland, yet again, there's a recently published novel called May All Your Skies Be Blue by Fiona Scarlett, and we're having a lot more blue in the skies, although it doesn't always last because this is spring in England. But this is set in Ireland in the 1990s and follows 2 young people as they form a very strong connection with each other, and it's about the degree to which we reveal things that are true about ourselves, and how we also like create these personas and masks in order to get other people to like us. And I read Fiona Scarlett's debut novel, which I thought was really poignant, and she writes in a really emotionally powerful way, and I've heard really great things about this new novel. And then finally, I have 3 books which don't have anything specifically to do with spring, but all have very bright colored covers in these sort of pastel covers, and that just kind of remind me of like painting Easter eggs. So I wanted to highlight these as well. So there's a recently published novel called The South by Tash Aw, in this really great vibrant green, and this is set in southern Malaysia, I think also in the 1990s, and follows 2 boys on a farm, which the farm is really dilapidated, and they're trying to sort of revive it together, but they also discover a passion and love for one another. So it follows their journey, the intensity of their relationship, how much of that relationship needs to remain private, and how much can be revealed in the public, and the tension of that. And this is meant to be the first novel in 4 novels that Tash Aw has written. So it's a kind of family epic that he's creating now. I don't know if the next novels in this series will be called like the North, the East, the West. But yeah, I think there are meant to be 4 novels, and so I sort of want to get in on the very first book. Then there is a new book by the great Torrey which has the title is in this bright pink, but also the inside is this really vibrant pink, and so that's why I've sort of paired it with these other bright Easterly type covers. And so this is a Stag Dance, which is actually a novella and 3 short stories, and I think the novella, the longest piece in this book, is Stag Dance itself. And this traces trans experience from the past to the present to the future. I think one of of the stories is a kind of a romance set in a boarding school. Another is set amongst lumberjacks who are engaged in an illegal lumberjack operation. And there's also a story set over a Las Vegas weekend. And I loved Detransition Baby. It was so smart, but also so funny and lively and complex. And I just love how she brings to life her characters. And I'm so eager to read this. And I will be reading it very soon because it's been picked with my in-person book club as the next book that we're going to read together. So I will be reading it over the next couple of weeks. And then finally, there is a book that is considered a modern classic, which is The Stone Diaries by Carol Shields in this edition, which is really bright orange. And this comes with an introduction by Margaret Atwood. And this follows a woman who is born early in the 1900s, and it follows her throughout her life, her various experiences in her family life and transformations that go on in her personal life, as well as the society around her in Canada. And this book begins with where is it? There it is. It begins with this great big family tree. And when I see a family tree in the beginning of a book, I get so excited because I love a great family epic, and this novel is meant to be absolutely superb, and it's one that I've been wanting to read for a really long time. It's been sitting behind me here on the shelves. You can see here on the shelves behind me that I have sort of rainbow-colored organized books, and so it's been sitting there for quite a while, and so yeah, I finally want to get to it this spring. So those are all the books that I want to read over the spring season, though I'll be reading many, many more, but these are just kind of the spring adjacent books that I want to read over the next few months. But like I said, I'd love to know if you want to read any of these books alongside me so we can discuss them over the next few months, or if there are any other books about spring that you're really keen on, please let me know about that below. But I hope you're doing well, and if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, that things are getting warmer and the weather is getting nicer for you wherever you are. But I hope you're reading good things, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.